I get why you're scouring the internet and YouTube because you're trying to find a reliable source to show you what the hell should I be doing with my money. I don't want to lose anything else. I don't want to retire and have nothing. I want to start this video off by asking a question. How many of you have taken losses in your 401k and you are considering selling off your equity funds? In the comments below. And if that's you, don't feel embarrassed or ashamed by it because there are a lot of individuals who feel the exact same way but just don't want to say so. It's money that you've worked hard to accumulate and you don't want to see it just dwindle away because of market volatility. But what you do need is someone who's been there, who's done that, and who knows the ins and outs to give you that comforting word and strategies to help you mitigate some of that anxiety and stress that you're feeling and give you a good, concrete, solid strategy to help you rest easy in retirement. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Trey and welcome to Let's Talk Finances. In this video, we're going to be going over what to do if your 401k is taking significant losses. You've been putting money away in your 401k and you're slowly seeing the value of your 401k diminishing. And you have a strong urge to sell off those funds and put that money into a money market. The rationale is there. I totally understand it, but please allow me just a few minutes to explain to you why that might not be the best choice. The 401k is a hallmark of American retirement savings. This employer-sponsored account is utilized by millions who can invest in stocks through their 401k to build that comfortable nest egg. But the problem there lies in the fact that because you're investing in a 401k, you are not immune to market volatility. When an economic downturn occurs, the 401ks will more than likely take the blunt of that volatility. You see, because holdings in these accounts are traditionally more stock-oriented, 401k losses can take on much steeper downsides than any other investment portfolio. Let's go ahead and jump into what you need to be doing now that your 401k has taken on some significant losses. The first thing that you need to do is go ahead and subscribe to this channel so that you can get your money right. Don't panic. I know that it's a lot easier said than done, but resist that urge to sell off all of your equity funds in your 401k account blindly. You have to understand that 401k investing is a long-term strategy. So generally, you're going to be in the workforce for about 30 years. 30 years is a very long-term window to be investing. Don't get your panties in a bunch because you took some losses for a year or even 2 years when you have a 30-year window. On the contrary to that, let's say that you have 5 years to retirement. Now then, you should be changing some things in your investment strategy, which we're going to be going over here soon in this video, so that you can limit the potential for loss and smooth your ride out for a comfortable nest egg in retirement. Why you shouldn't be panicking. Panicking is probably one of the worst things that you can do in any situation. Hypothetically speaking, for those of us who are in the special operations field or any combat-oriented field of the military, we know that the worst thing you can do when you're reacting to contact is panic, right? You want to keep a level head and you want to be able to assess the threat. In this particular instance, you need to keep a level head and understand what your specific strategy is. Are you investing for a 5-year term? If so, then yeah, losing for 1 year to 2 years or 6 months even in that case can make a huge impact. But if you have 30 years, 20 years, I would even say upwards to 15 years, that's a long enough time for you to make little tweaks to your investment strategy to still make significant gains without cashing out on your ability to get 100% immediate return on investment. You have to understand that the stock market is known to be volatile, and it's known to go through periods where investments can decrease or increase. So let's say hypothetically, it decreases by another 15% tomorrow. What should you do? I should sell all my stocks, Trey. No, that's not what you should be doing. In the grand scheme of things, when you have a 20 to 30 year window to invest in your 401k, what happens in the next 6 months means nothing. The best way I can equate this, for those of you who are in relationships or married, Think about an argument that you've had with your spouse. At that time, you were enraged, you were pissed off. It felt like the end of the world. It probably even felt like, you know what? I don't even really want to be with this person. But an hour later, after cooler heads have prevailed, you now understand that, man, I was stupid for even thinking that. That whole thing was so stupid and frivolous, it should have never happened. That's the best way that I can equate keeping your emotions in check during market volatility, especially when we're talking about your retirement. Listen, a 6-month window and a long-term window for retirement means nothing. When you have 15, 20, 25, 30 years to invest, forget about what happens this month or next month or for the next year. You have to ride this wave out. You have to focus on the big picture. And the big picture is not what happens tomorrow. The big picture is what you do for the next 10 years that sets you up for the remainder of your life. All right, so the next thing that we're going to be covering, now that you've taken some significant losses in your 401k, it's going to be choosing the correct asset allocation. Now, this one is a very, very crucial one, all right? So the asset allocation in this event simply means what percentage of your portfolio is going to what. So for an example, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. That is a specific asset allocation. So allow me to ask this question. Do you know what your asset allocation is supposed to be? If you do not know, I would highly encourage you to do a little bit more research. Let's go into a little bit more detail-oriented breakdown of your asset allocation now that you've taken some losses. There's 3 specific things that you need to be paying attention to. The first thing is your investment goals. You see, before you even started investing in any type of investment, you should understand what your goals are. And a part of understanding what your goals are is understanding how much you need in retirement. You see, when you start investing and you don't even know how much you're going to need in retirement to live comfortably, you're starting off on the wrong foot, but I am going to help you with that. If you go down to the links in the description below, I'm going to actually put a retirement calculator that's going to help you decide the actual dollar figure that you need in order to be comfortable in retirement. Now, a part of that formula in choosing the correct asset allocation is going to be knowing how much money you're going to need in retirement. A general rule of thumb is going to be to take the amount of money that you're spending in 1 year. And hopefully that's not frivolous spending and debt incurring spending. But after you take into account what your annual spending is, you multiply that by 25. And that's going to be the number that dictates what you would need in order to retire comfortably, right? And that's just a blanket example. Go to the calculator and it'll give you a further breakdown. The next thing would be what percentage you should be investing for retirement. Now, the general rule of thumb is going to be 15%, right? That's the number, that's the sweet spot that you want to hit to make that retirement purr like a kitten. I feel like this mustache makes what I just said sound even more goofier. Now, the next thing that you need to be doing now that you've taken some significant losses in your portfolio is to diversify your portfolio. As a matter of fact, you should have already done so. And if you haven't, please allow me to ask this question. Do you even know what funds you're invested in your 401k? If you don't feel embarrassed, don't feel ashamed, because there are a large percentage of individuals who signed up for their 401k or their employer automatically enrolled them in that 401k, but they didn't know that they had the option to choose what funds they were investing in. And what that would mean is that your employer chose for you. And if they chose for you, they probably put you in either a target dated fund or a plethora of funds that you really don't need. I've seen some instances where employers put their employee in 100% bonds and they're in their early to mid 20s. They waited like 15 to 20 years and never knew that and missed out on significant gains. I don't think that this would be necessary to go 100% in on the explanation of diversification. In a nutshell, it's not putting all your eggs in one basket. So that can work for an individual retirement account, a TSP, or a 401k. But what you should be doing is putting it into a low-cost, highly diversified index mutual fund, for instance, like an S&P 500, so that you're invested in 500 of the largest and most successful companies within the United States. Now, I got it. During these volatile times where you have Ukraine and you have Biden doing crazy stuff, and then you have all this other foolishness going on, it could be very stressful even thinking about entering into the market. But the way that you can mitigate that stress is by understanding history and by understanding that we've seen these times, if not even worse than these times, at least 4 other times in the last 40 to 50 years, or maybe even more than that. Understand that we've gone through those times and we made it out of that and went straight into a bullish market, which means you're getting all kinds of gains. Shout out to the Hodge twins. But by spreading out your investments across multiple assets, you'll be mitigating the volatility, and then on top of that, pushing out some of those risks so you don't feel as stressed. A lot of people are going to be asking, hey, well, Trey, what funds should I be investing in while I'm trying to diversify my portfolio? And a large portion of this is going to be dependent upon your investment strategy, all right? Me personally, early on, I was very aggressive. So if I'm being honest, I went in 100% stocks when I first started investing. And to be honest, it worked out for me. I slowly started dialing it back around the midway point, and I started about 80% stock, 20% bonds. I understand what my investment strategy is, but I also understand the big picture. And in doing so, I can rest comfortably in knowing that my investment strategy is solid and that I don't really care what happens today or tomorrow because I'm going to keep investing regardless. But remember, your personal circumstances and your personal investment strategy is going to dictate your optimal allocation. If you've liked the content to this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button because that is what's going to ensure that my YouTube channel stays up. Thank you all for watching. Until the next video, let's talk finances then.